Connect on social media. Connect on Twitter. Connect with iPower One Nation. Stay connected with iPower One.
Now on iPower 2 News, shooting erupts in a Astoria, Queens restaurant. We'll have details. Another e-bike causes fire, destroying a local business. We have that story. And a third suspect has been arrested for the murder of a member of Run DMC. iPower 2 This Moment starts right now.
From the Hard Planet Media Studios in New York, this is iPower 2 This Moment.
We're going to begin with that shocking video. A man marches right into a Bangladeshi restaurant in Queens, pulls out a gun and opens fire. Security cameras captured the frightening moments. Tonight, we've learned this was no robbery. The victim was the intended target. Eyewitness News reporter Morgan Norwood has more from Astoria.
Tonight, the chilling moment, a gunman storms into a restaurant in Astoria, Queens, and shoots a worker at close range in the middle of the day. It's 3:35 at Boishaki restaurant. The shooter, donning a red hoodie, reaches in his crossbody bag and pulls out a handgun. He fires, and the bullet pierces the glass, sending terrified customers bolting out the door. One woman grabs a small child by the hand and hustles to safety. But watch from this angle as the suspect runs behind the counter and starts shooting at the clerk again. Police rushing to the scene, the victim loaded into an ambulance. The restaurant wrapped in crime scene tape as detectives begin their investigation, and this worker tries to cope with the shock.
My body is shaking. See, still I am shaking my body.
He says he wasn't inside. He was working in the back of the store when those shots were fired.
I heard the sound, but I don't know it's a shot or something.
Tonight, the restaurant teeming with law enforcement, police looking for that suspect, and the community searching for peace.
It's unbelievable. Who can do that, This community is very good neighborhood, good people, especially Bengali community. They are very good people, never happened in this history,
And tonight, police are still investigating. They tell Eyewitness News this was not a robbery and that the suspect and victim both knew each other. They add that the victim was the intended target here.
Assembly is unlawful.
Police had to implement crowd control measures earlier today at a pop-up store in Soho. Officers say they were forced to clear Broome Street, where a dry cleaner was selling hoodies and sweatpants from the brand Denim Tears. One person was arrested. People began gathering for the event 2 days ago. When the items actually went on sale, there was a bit of a crush.
A lot of people here, it was a lot of people. It was, forget who was just here. You had all of these people wrapped around the block, and no, it was tons. It was like 1,000, 2,000 people down here, literally.
The plan was to take customers in order using a numbered ticket system, but at some point that system broke down.
Shooting raising concerns about crime, but the NYPD releasing new numbers today showing shootings and murders were down last month. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim tonight talking to people in one part of the Bronx where they say shootings and murders aren't their biggest problem right now.
It may not be summer yet, but by Claremont Park in the Bronx, there are signs it is near. Tank tops are back, and kids are shooting hoops in the street. Then there's the whir of the fan trying to beat the 90-degree heat. Manny Cruz knows all about these streets. Raised in the Bronx, his hardware store has been on Morris Avenue for 35 years. It's the kind of mom-and-pop shop where only he remembers where to find things. He also remembers the 80s.
It was bad, very bad. Now it's changing to better. But it's not like the way it's supposed to be. A lot of shooting at night.
Cruz and a number of local business owners here say worse than the violent crime these days is the homelessness, drugs, poverty, and mental health issues plaguing their neighborhood. A place where drug deals happen out in the open with children nearby.
I don't think the cities take care of those things. I think they have to do more. for those people.
In fact, crime stats released today by the NYPD show crime citywide this month is down compared to this month last year. Murder down by more than 33%, rape down by 21%, robberies and burglaries down by more than 11%, felony assaults down by more than 1% too. But in this part of the Bronx, things are trending in the wrong direction. Within a 24-hour span just last night, there were 3 separate shootings, all here in the 44th Police Precinct. 2 of those victims were unintended targets.
I mean, we stay inside because you come out at night and the guns are just going off.
Back then, people got high in abandoned buildings, which was they prefer to do it in front of out in the open. Now it's just straight out in the open. You go to the parks, any place where they could get high, they will do it.
Everywhere is just shooting and shooting.
There are cops in almost every direction you look, but residents here say they just want more attention and care.
The wake today for the 16-year-old girl in Queens, an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire between 2 groups shooting at each other. Gun insanity, ending a young girl's life and leaving a family in mourning and devastated, and now looking for justice because so far none of the evildoers has been arrested. Eyewitness News reporter Lionel Moise live at the wake in St. Albans. Lionel.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, we are here right now. That wake is happening actually as we speak. This is not normally something that you would see news cameras at, but the family was very adamant about us being here. They wanted to make sure that they shared Claudia's story to find those who are responsible, as you just mentioned. Mayor Adams also arriving here, giving his support, vowing to help the family find justice. And the most devastating part about all of this, they believe that Claudia had nothing at all to do with this shooting. A family in mourning saying their final goodbyes to 16-year-old Claudia Kwate.
Claudia loved being Claudia. She loved people.
Police say on May 10th, Kwate was shot in the head. An innocent bystander sitting in the backseat of a Hyundai SUV parked outside of PS 15 Jackie Robinson. Investigators believe there was a dispute in a nearby playground which was full of families at the time. They say the argument escalated and 2 groups started shooting at each other. Video from that night showing where the bullet hole pierced the windshield of the car Kwate was in. She was shot once in the head, the driver speeding off and calling 911 for help. The teen rushed to Jamaica Hospital where she later died.
We just implore everybody to please wrap your children in your arms, love them, and talk to them about gun violence. Talk to your children.
While it was a very emotional and personal day for the family, they wanted our cameras here to share her story in hopes of finding the people responsible. Police releasing this surveillance video of 3 people of interest. They say the shooter and others fled the scene, but so far there have been no arrests in the case.
We want the people who were caught to be brought, who did this, to be caught and brought to justice. We just want the community to just basically step up and, you know, say, if you saw something, say something. Don't be afraid. This could easily be your family member.
Really touching to hear them also a little earlier speaking about Claudia, saying that she often went back home to Ghana and would be feeding the kids and really doing a lot of humanitarian work when she was there, saying that she was an angel in real life when she was here. Now, if you know any information, again, no one has been arrested in this case. They are asking for you to please call Crime Stoppers if you have any information that can lead to an arrest for the people who are responsible for this.
U.S. Marshals have arrested a fugitive wanted for killing both his pregnant ex-girlfriend and his ex-wife.
Yeah.
They apprehended 35-year-old Timothy Taylor this morning at a bar in Philadelphia. Taylor was wanted for stabbing to death his ex-girlfriend Teresa Gregg in their home in Williamsburg, Brooklyn on May 13th. Teresa Gregg was a police officer with the city's Department of Homeland Services. Detectives believe Taylor then killed his ex-wife inside her home this past weekend in Schenectady. A tip to the U.S. Marshal Service led to the arrest. Well, investigation into a fire at a barbershop in Rockland County has determined it was caused by a faulty e-bike battery. The flames broke out last night after witnesses say they heard a popping sound and then suddenly an explosion. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis with more from Spring Valley.
We thought that they were attacking the store.
Surveillance video gives a glimpse of the explosion that created that noise. A plume of smoke coming from a neighboring barbershop. Inside was an e-bike that went up in flames. It happened happened yesterday evening at a strip mall in Spring Valley. Leah Lopez was working in a beauty salon next door.
I just heard the boom, boom on the wall and everybody running like on the front, on the back, and we got all desperate and we just started running and going out.
2 people, including this barbershop employee, were slightly hurt. The charred remains of the e-bike can be seen inside the barbershop. It was later dragged out in front. Exploding lithium-ion batteries continue to pose fire danger as their popularity increases. Though off camera, one worker says he believes the cause was an overloaded extension cord. Either way, the damage was significant.
I'm surprised because I never thought that something like that could happen just with a motorcycle.
It could have been even worse. Once outside, business owners used fire extinguishers from their own stores to put out the bulk of the flames before firefighters arrived. As the investigation continues, the barbershop remains off limits. The Ramapo Buildings inspector says the business lacked the proper certificate of occupancy and proof of fire safety compliance.
A bizarre and humiliating crime in Manhattan. A man actually ripping off a woman's wig, literally and figuratively as well.
Yeah, it happened in Midtown. The victim, a singer. Video of the wig ripoff went viral. And when the law firm the man works for saw it, it fired him.
So why haven't criminal charges been filed here? Here's Darla Miles.
I posted it. I woke up to another TikToker, another lawyer, who found him. And he was like, hey, Lizzie, this is your guy. Press charges.
For what reason did you take my wig off?
It only took hours after Brooklyn singer Lizzie Ashley posted this video that it went viral. Millions outraged that her crown and glory had been rudely snatched off her head last Saturday night.
Within the minute of him doing it, he just was acting like I didn't exist. Like he didn't just do something that was harmful to me or disrespectful.
For what, sir? Why?
The shrill in her voice, a clear indication of the distress caused by the violation of her personal space. In this surveillance video obtained by Eyewitness News, you can see her walking down 6th Avenue towards West 34th Street. And in the top left corner, her head is seen jerking backwards.
So he's pulling my neck back. And I'm like, whoa. And I literally turn around and I get aggressive. I'm like, whoa, what'd you do that for?
The video has been viewed millions of times, but what has not been seen until now is the emotional toll it took on Lizzie when everything was over.
What gave you the right?
I didn't show that part to the world, but I definitely broke down in tears because I'm like, why did that happen?
He continues to walk away, his friends urging him all the while to apologize. The man in the video has since been identified and fired by his firm, which says, we take seriously any inappropriate behavior by any employee, whether inside or outside the workplace.
Let's take a trip to Peru.
But the 29-year-old artist says she simply wanted an apology.
And you're looking at me and then looking away as if I'm not here. You know, it felt dehumanized. So that's just crazy to me.
In Midtown, Darla Miles, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Coming up, the Haitian Day Parade comes to the Upper West Side. And celebrating Pride Month here in New York City despite hateful backlash.
You're watching iPower 2 This Moment in New York City.
5, 6, 7, 8.
The party is just getting started at Chicago on Broadway. Get tickets now at chicagothemusical.com.
Everyone loves more of a good thing.
More.
Miss Moore was no different. As her name suggested, she loved more. More? So when Miss Moore was injured, she called Morgan & Morgan. With more lawyers, more offices, and more than $15 billion recovered, she didn't have to ask for more anymore. When you're injured, you deserve more.
One more?
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
When you support City Harvest, you feed hope, love, and joy. You feed confidence, community, and comfort. You feed health, strength, and spirit. When When you support City Harvest, you do more than just provide hundreds of millions of pounds of food to millions of hungry New Yorkers. When you support City Harvest, you feed good.
iPower 1 is always on 24/7. Listen or watch us anytime. Plus, like and follow us on our social media.
Some new details on a disturbing attack on Long Island, a man tackling a teenager at a skate park.
Yeah, the fight over a baseball was caught on camera.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Now, that man, a member of a baseball team, was apparently trying to get back the ball that went over the fence. But now he faces criminal charges, and the boy and his mother are sharing the story. News 4's Long Island reporter Greg Sergel spoke with them, joining us live now, Greg, from Green Lawn.
And Natalie, this skate park behind me is a place the 15-year-old says he usually feels safe. But now his mom says he's been left shaken and at times tearful by an alleged attack by someone more than twice his age. The cell phone video led Suffolk police to arrest the guy in the baseball uniform. The alleged assault happened 10 days ago after a foul ball from this Green Lawn baseball field landed in an adjoining skate park. 36-year-old Andrew Chiaro of Massapequa is now facing charges for striking a 15-year-old.
I was just thinking, no way this is actually happening right now, that someone who I can tell is a lot older than me was putting his hands on me.
Ninth grader Trent Roundsevall rides his bike in the skate park regularly. And on the day of the incident, he says several foul balls flew into the skate park area. Roundsevall stuck one of them in his pocket. Innocently, he says. That's when several baseball players descended on the park.
They were more yelling at me than asking for the ball back, cussing at me, calling me names.
This video doesn't show what led up to the alleged attack, but according to the criminal complaint, Chiaro told Suffolk police, "I know I shouldn't handle the situation like I did. I just wanted my ball back."
He was never asked for the ball back, and he never refused for the ball.
It's unfortunate that it got physical. We will never condone any kind of violence in our parks.
Huntington's supervisor says Andrew Chiaro's team has now been banned from playing on town ball fields. Chiaro's lawyer refused comment today. Roundsevall's mom is just looking for justice. Upset, she says, that police didn't file charges until this video surfaced days after the incident.
I kind of thought they were hoping that this went away, and I was not going to allow it to go away.
Suffolk police didn't respond to our request for comment about that 4-day delay in filing charges. Andrew Chiaro is due to face a judge next month. Here in Huntington Town, officials now are also considering putting up some netting or fencing to prevent other foul balls from making their way into the skate park. We're live in Green Lawn. Greg Sergel, News 4 New York.
Police had to look outside the Garden State for the man who they now say murdered Eunice Jumfor. They tracked the Sayreville councilwoman's accused killer all the way to Chesapeake, Virginia. The 28-year-old suspect was not a stranger. Prosecutors say Jumfor knew him from church. News 4's Checky Beckford live in Newark to explain how investigators linked him to the crime, Checky.
Yeah, and Natalie, this church in Newark is one of the only direct connections prosecutors noted today between the victim and the suspect in terms of how they knew each other. We tried to talk to some members who are here tonight for a meeting, but they declined any comment. Meanwhile, Eunice Jumfor's family, her parents, are asking more questions tonight about why their daughter was killed. New questions tonight following an arrest in the puzzling murder of 30-year-old New Jersey lawmaker Eunice Jumfor.
We need to get justice. We need those answers.
28-year-old Rashid Ali Bynum captured in Chesapeake, Virginia. Nearly 4 months to the day, prosecutors say, he ambushed the Sayreville councilwoman in her SUV outside her home. Her 11-year-old daughter telling the Associated Press last month she heard the shots that killed her mother.
We were waiting for my mom to look for a parking space, and then she was taking a lot of time. So we started calling her over and over again, but I wouldn't pick up. So And then we heard gunshots and we started calling the police.
Today, June4's sister, father, and pastor watched on as the Middlesex County prosecutor laid out the case.
This was a very complex, extensive case with painstaking police work.
Yolanda Ciccone crediting surveillance video, E-ZPass records, a witness sighting, and Bynum's cell phone pinging near the scene right before the murder for the arrest. And inside June4's phone,
a search of the victim's phone revealed Bynum as a contact in Eunice June4's phone with the acronym FCF.
That church affiliated with this one, the Champion Royal Assembly in Newark, the church through which the rising Republican politician met her new husband in Nigeria. June4 seen here in promotional material on the church's Facebook page. The same church prosecutors say Bynum had also worked for at one point.
That on the day of the murder, Bynum searched the internet for information on Champion Royal Assembly Church, as well as the area in Sayreville, New Jersey.
But the attorney for June4's parents says prosecutors have yet to reveal the proverbial smoking gun, a motive.
They are trying to also understand the relationship, how this person came to target Eunice, what was the rationale.
While the family seen here leaving the prosecutor's office is thankful to investigators, John Wisniewski says the prosecutor has yet to share why their daughter was targeted.
Maybe they know, but certainly they haven't shared that, and that is something that is vexing the family as we speak right now.
Bynum is charged with first-degree murder and several weapons charges. He is currently in Virginia awaiting extradition. We're live in Newark tonight. Jackie Beckford, News 4, New York.
You're watching iPower 2 this moment. Moving forward in the NYC.
Se te nota en la cara que eres elegante. Ignora los hombres que te dan amor. Te miro los ojos y veo una imagen. Una caja muy fuerte que no tiene llave. Es muy difícil controlarme. Dime amor, porque me muero por tocarte. Me das calor, ayúdame a encontrar la pieza. No seas así, ella es una rompecabezas.
Ella es una abusadora, de nadie se enamora. Tiene un pasado negro y por eso anda sola. Pero yo te propongo que pase tú la noche ya conmigo. Deja que la luna sea testigo. Ella es una de esas rompecabezas. La padre cura, esa nena le confiesa. Yo te lo juro que esa nena está caliente. Quiero saber cómo en la cama ya se siente. Rapa pam pam, bien cuchi cuchi, bien de moda. Siempre seductiva, de seguro esto roba. Tiene un flow salvaje y desde lejos se le nota. Como Ricky Martin ya vive la vida loca. Haz de lo que todos los códigos. Tira la señal que yo te caigo a lo rápido. Yeah, tú estás bien duro y no te miento. Tú eres una piedra de cemento.
Es muy difícil controlarme.
Now to a break-in that was caught on camera at a New York City boutique. Police say the robbery crew that you see here stole luxury watches worth $2.5 million. As you can see, it looks like they knew what they were doing there. News 4's Gilma Avalos live for us in Tottenville, Staten Island with the latest. Hey, Gilma.
Hey, Natalie, and they didn't walk in through the front door either. In fact, a source familiar with what happened here says the burglars may have had to cut a hole in the back of the building. We're going to have to show you that. And behind this building is a wooded area, so it begs the question, did these burglars have to walk through the woods with all their tools to commit this heist?
The 5 masked people move with purpose, carrying tools to get the job done, easily prying open the door to get to where the goods were stored, an office inside this nondescript building in a strip mall in Tottenville.
Pelican case, that's something we use in law enforcement all the time. A hard box to throw the take in, the hand truck, showing that they're looking to encounter safe, and just take the whole safe with them at that point, drill it out somewhere else down the line.
Tim Gallagher, former FBI special agent and now chief security officer at investigation firm Nardello & Co., says these guys are pros.
Imagine that this is an organized group that has gone up and down the East Coast, and by the time that the owner realized that this death had happened, they're probably 3 or 4 states away.
The Memorial Day heist at the wristwatcher netted them $2.5 million in luxury watches. They took the safe and the $160,000 in it, according to police. Chopper 4 shows the possible way they made it in, cutting a hole in the back of the building. On its website, the Wristwatcher Inc. describes itself as a retailer of pre-owned luxury watches. You see clear photos of the pricey inventory. This rose gold chocolate Rolex, price tag $44,000. Another going for $42,500.
Hey guys, Joey the Wristwatcher here. I get asked this question.
The Wristwatcher's Instagram account has 116,000 followers.
As a business owner, you're walking a fine line. You want to get as much information out there as you can, to bring business in, but at the same time, you're putting information out there which can make you a target.
During the pandemic, luxury watch sales surged, but Gallagher says so have thefts of the pricey timepieces. But he also says time may not be on these crooks' side.
All those devices that were stolen, all those watches, they have numbers all over the inside of them. So when someone buys them and they look to put them into service, it can be recognized as where it's from, and that could ultimately give police and the FBI the break they need to bring these threat actors to justice, get them off the streets.
In an Instagram post, the owner shared, thanked people for their support and shared that he can't discuss the details of the crime because of the ongoing investigation, though he did say that he will be bolstering security here. Live in Tottenville, Gilma Avalos, News 4 New York.
And we bet he will. All right, Gilma, thank you.
Out of the arrest of a suspected serial rapist in New Jersey, linked to a series of decade-old attacks in a Boston neighborhood. The accused, a 35-year-old attorney now living in Weehawken. That is where News 4's Jackie Beckford is live tonight to explain how investigators tied him to the crimes, Jackie.
Well, Natalie, they say forensic genealogy helped them crack this 15-year-old cold case leading right here to this apartment complex in Weehawken. But because that suspect lived in several states since the attack, they now wonder if there may be more victims out there.
An attorney for a New York cyber insurance company, 35-year-old Matthew Nilo, now an accused serial rapist, suspected in 4 sexual assaults and kidnappings in Boston dating back 15 years. But it was here at this Harbor Boulevard apartment building in Weehawken where FBI agents and police finally made the arrest Tuesday.
Oh wow, that's crazy. It's especially such a long way.
Surprise tonight along the popular idyllic public waterfront. According to a warrant filed in Hudson County Court, law enforcement agents had the front desk of Nilo's building call up to his unit, telling him he had a package delivered that needed to be picked up. Nilo was arrested when he came down. He's now facing aggravated rape, kidnapping, and assault charges, among others. His employer, Cowbell, says Nilo has been suspended, but that he passed a background check when hired this past January.
This arrest accumulates the investigation that employed the use of forensic genealogy.
Police say Nilo was identified using investigative forensic genealogy, which takes an unknown suspect's DNA and matches it to family members who voluntarily submitted their DNA to a public database. Police say that linked him to cases on Charlestown's Terminal Street between 2007 and 2008. Investigators say he was a student living in the North End at the time.
I didn't even know they had technology like that.
That's because the technology is relatively new and didn't exist at the time of the assaults. It's being used increasingly to solve cases.
When I say 99.99, that means the chances of there being another individual are more than the population of the planet.
Detectives say there's also a significant amount of investigation to corroborate a suspect's identity, but the work is not done. Because of the 15-year gap between the attacks and Nilo's arrest, they're concerned there may be more victims who never came forward or whose rape kits remain untested.
People could be scared, like certain females are scared to come out about that kind of stuff.
Investigators also credit a grant to process rape kits. Now, Nilo is due in court tomorrow morning for an extradition hearing. It's unclear if he has an attorney. We're live in Weehawken tonight. Jackie Beckford, News 4, New York.
There is now a third man charged in the decades-old murder of Jason Mizell, also known as Jam Master Jay of Run DMC.
Fox 5's Lizette Nunez joins us with the details. And Lizette, this development just as we are about to celebrate 50 years of hip-hop.
Yeah, absolutely, Tashani and Rosanna. The shooting death of DJ Jam Master Jay stunned hip-hop fans and left many wondering how he could die so violently. And at one point, it was considered a cold case for several years. Now, 2 people have already been charged with murder in this case, but now prosecutors say a third man from Queens also played a role.
21 years after Run DMC's Jam Master Jay was shot and killed, a third person has been charged. Federal prosecutors unsealed an indictment against a Queens man, 49-year-old Jay Bryant. Bryant is already in custody and awaiting trial for a separate drug-related case. The hip-hop trailblazer Jason J. Mizell, professionally known as Jam Master Jay, is known for helping catapult hip-hop internationally. In October 2002, Jam Master Jay was killed in his Jamaica, Queens studio at point-blank range. Investigators say the fatal shooting was due to a drug deal gone wrong. The indictment alleges Bryant was seen entering the studio, and a piece of clothing left at the crime scene was linked back to his DNA. According to court documents, Bryant admitted to participating in the murder and claimed he was the shooter. Prosecutors say the evidence does not support that Bryant pulled the trigger. For years, the beloved DJ's death remained a cold case after witnesses refused to speak up. Fox 5's Lisa Evers spoke to investigators exclusively 3 years ago when 2 other individuals, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington, were taken into custody and charged.
We went across the country to interview different people, witnesses, many different locations. He took those crime scene photos and he studied them. He brought them to the OCME's office. They went through, they retested things that maybe were not tested, or the technology we're able to have us test today that wasn't available back in 2002.
Jay Bryant is facing murder and other gun and drug charges. No date yet on when he will be arraigned. Now, the other 2 men who were also charged in this case, their trial has been scheduled for January of next year. Rosanna and Tashani.
All right, thanks so much, Lizette.
Coming up in the next half hour, a former Family Feud contestant has been found guilty of murder. We'll have details and find out how women on transportation are playing it safe on New York City subways.
iPower 1.
If you've been seriously injured in an accident, call 1-800-LAW-3333. You need a law firm that won't back down and will fight hard for every dollar you deserve.
Call the Yankowitz Law Firm, 1-800-LAW-3333.
Spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
iPower 1. iPower 1. Your online media connection since 2007.
You're looking at a man cops say is an evil serial killer. He was just arrested and may be behind more than 10 murders dating back a quarter of a century. What's causing outrage is the fact that he had been convicted of raping and killing an 8-year-old girl, but was released after just 11 years. As Stephen Fabian reports, it's being called a travesty of justice.
A convicted child killer released from prison after just 11 years is back behind bars after cops say he confessed to being a serial killer. Police say 62-year-old Raul Meza is suspected in 12 slayings, all allegedly committed after his release for, get this, good behavior.
We identified multiple cold cases that have a similar MO, and we're looking into those for future leads.
Meza gave himself up to police in Austin, and police say when he was arrested, he appeared to be planning more murders. He had with him zip ties, duct tape, and a .22 caliber revolver. Meza was 21 when he raped and murdered third grader Kendra Page in an elementary school playground. Sean Page is Kendra's sister.
I imagine after all these years, it just doesn't get any easier.
It hurt me so much. It was devastating to all of us. My family's torn apart from all this.
We want him out! We want him out! His release on parole after serving 11 years of his 30-year prison sentence triggered angry protests outside his mother's home in 1994.
We want him out! We want him out!
Inside Edition caught up with Meza shortly after his release in 1994.
They say they're going to move you again. Do you have any reaction to that?
Meza even called a press conference to calm fears he would kill again.
There's nothing that I can do to change my past. I can only tell you that in my heart, I know that I will not willfully bring harm to anyone.
Now authorities have charged him with the stabbing death of an 80-year-old former probation officer who befriended him. And police say a DNA match links him to the 2019 murder of 61-year-old Gloria Lofton, his former neighbor. There may be many more slayings tied to him.
I'm furious they didn't listen to us when we were trying to speak on what kind of person Raul Meza was.
Suspect has quite a rap sheet. His first arrest was back in 1975 when he was charged with robbing a convenience store. A classic part of Americana, and tourists love to get close to them at Yellowstone National Park, but posing for a selfie like this young lady is a big no-no.
What in the world was she thinking? This woman in shorts is risking a lot as she poses for a selfie at Yellowstone National Park with a giant bison. Watch as she snaps a bunch of photos of herself with the beast. She's very lucky the bison is in chill mode and didn't attack her. But that wasn't the case when this woman tries to pet another bison and quickly gets the scare of her life. Her friends are about to take a photo when the beast lunges. She flees and takes a stumble, but she's very lucky the bison didn't charge her. She could have been gored.
A bison can grow to be 2,000 pounds. It can run 35 miles an hour. This is not something you just go in there and, smile and take a picture with.
And what is this guy doing holding a baby bison? Well, he spotted the calf lagging behind the herd and decides to help it catch up. But that's a big no-no. Yellowstone rules prohibit visitors from getting within 75 feet of wildlife. The calf had to be euthanized after the herd repeatedly rejected it.
People touching and handling bison, we actually are transferring our scent onto the coats of those calves and babies. They don't want to accept that animal back into the herd because it smells like a threat.
So, as summer gets into full swing, a reminder: stay away from the wild animals.
The National Park Service warns that bison are unpredictable, so you should always try to stay at least 25 yards away. We've told you about the Family Feud contestant accused of killing his wife. Well, his game show days are definitely over. He was just convicted of first-degree murder and home invasion just 3 months after he killed his wife.
This Family Feud contestant faces life behind bars after a jury found him guilty of killing his estranged wife, the mother of their 3 children.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Timothy Bleefnick, guilty of first-degree murder.
Tim Bleefnick had zero reaction on hearing the verdict. Moments later, he was taken away in handcuffs. Bleefnick broke into his wife Becky's house in Quincy, Illinois last February with a crowbar and shot her in cold blood.
He pulled the trigger. Not once, not twice, not 3 times,
but 14 times, riddling her body with bullets.
Key evidence was Becky's own words in a text message to her sister. Her sister read the text in court.
If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number one person of interest is Tim, as that is who would do something to me.
Tim Bleefnick's internet history was also damning. It showed he searched how to open a door with a crowbar, how to make a homemade gun silencer, and how to wash off gunpowder. Bleefnick's appearance on Family Feud is haunting. Listen to his response to host Steve Harvey's question about marriage.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do.
The audience gasped. Bleefnick tried to explain.
Not my mistake. I love my wife. I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I?
His wife's family spoke out after the guilty verdict, reminding everyone that 3 youngsters lost their mother.
As they go forward with a certain truth that their father murdered their mother, we ask that you keep Becky's 3 incredible boys in your prayers.
Bleefnick will be back in court August 11th for his sentencing. There's a new unique way young women are preventing themselves from being targeted by creepy guys. They're covering up with baggy clothes as they go out about their day, all to avoid unwanted attention.
This young woman is about to get on the New York City subway, but Claire Wenrick stops to put on a big baggy t-shirt over her pretty summer dress. Why?
I don't want any creepy stares from people.
It's being dubbed the subway shirt. It's a fashion trend that lots of women riding mass transit are using to ward off creepy guys. Usually you want to look attractive while out and about, but the new goal?
You want to look not cute.
All to avoid sexual harassment.
If you're going out, you gotta bring like a modesty jacket.
It's not just oversized t-shirts. Women are wearing oversized men's dress shirts, even blazers, all before getting on public transportation. The less skin they show, the better.
You don't want guys staring at you. You just want to feel more comfortable on your commute.
How bad is the problem? We spoke to 51 female passengers at random, and 34 say they have been sexually harassed on the subway.
I've had some guys kind of like come and approach me and sit next to me, very close, and just like, you know, keep kind of like badgering me, talking to me.
I instantly start sweating. This guy actually followed me from train to train on the subway.
Once you're off the subway and arrive at your destination, off the baggy clothes go, and voila, you're wearing what you want to wear. So if you feel creepy stares on your commute, consider a subway shirt.
It's a way to just prevent like anything weird from happening and also just make me feel safer when I'm on public transportation.
We'll check on the latest Money Watch report, plus a new driverless rideshare coming to Arizona and California.
You're watching iPower 2 This Moment in New York City.
Listen, your deodorant just has to work. I use Secret, aluminum free. Just swipe and it lasts all day. Secret helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it. And hours later, I still smell fresh. Secret works. Oh, yes.
Share the power in music. Share the power in TV. Share iPower 1 online. iPower1HD.com. Share the power.
Fried food with a healthy twist. Here are 3 tips about cooking with air fryers. From chicken wings to dessert, you can air fry anything that you put in an oven. Batter up. For optimal crunch texture, create a dry batter for your food item. Do not turn your food when using multiple racks. Food will cook evenly with distributed heat.
Free candy.
Brought to you by PC Richard & Son.
iPower 1 is always on 24/7. Listen or watch us anytime. Plus, like and follow us on our social media.
Self-driving robo-taxi
taxis are already on the road in 2 cities. One leading company is Waymo. Its app-based ride-hailing service has been on the road for more than 6 years and currently averages 10,000 passenger rides a week. Waymo just announced a partnership with Uber, and Chris Van Cleve climbed into the back seat for a driverless ride.
Robert Stone and Sheila Zagloski are trying out Waymo's ride-hailing service that just expanded to include their Tempe, Arizona retirement community. Their car arrives without a person in the driver's seat.
We love it. It's going to replace a car for us sooner than later.
In 2018, CBS Mornings cameras were the first allowed to ride in a fully autonomous Waymo. Then, the service was limited to a select few early adopters, and each gas-powered minivan arrived with a human safety driver on board.
Waymo does intend to completely remove the safety driver eventually, so there'll be no one up front at all.
After more than 1 million driverless miles and no reported injuries, Waymo is seen as the industry leader, having expanded its footprint in Phoenix, adding service in San Francisco, and soon to parts of Los Angeles. Those minivans have been replaced with a fleet of all-electric Jaguars.
The Waymo driver never gets drowsy. It doesn't get distracted. It is something that is attentive all the time.
Adam Lenz is Waymo's head of sustainability.
Would you say the cars perform as well or better than a human driver?
I would say that I really trust this technology, and that when you're in the car, you feel entirely safe, and it's a great user experience.
But the technology is still learning.
I think there's opportunities to continue to build a better service for our riders, and we continue to do that.
In March, 68% of drivers told AAA they were afraid of autonomous vehicles, though truly self-driving cars are operating in only a handful of cities across the country.
It's really impressive what Waymo is doing.
Journalist Tim Stevens covers the auto industry.
If you compare that to any other ride-sharing company like an Uber or a Lyft that are serving basically coast to coast at this point, it's really a tiny impression.
Waymo is owned by Google's parent company, Alphabet.
Waymo has been given a lot of runway this far and a lot of R&D dollars to develop this, truly incredible technology, but it is still a long way away from being a truly viable, independent, profitable business. And so the question on the minds of a lot of people is, how much more patience does Alphabet have for this business?
Here in San Francisco, the city council denied Waymo a permit to add a parking garage after concerns from the community and labor unions that autonomous vehicles could cost jobs.
Using the Waymo app, we tried it for ourselves, taking a ride around Phoenix for about the same cost as calling an Uber.
And you pretty quickly, sitting back here, forget there's no one actually driving the vehicle, other than there's no driver making awkward small talk while we're going from point A to point B. There are a few little things that are different. It can be a little hesitant, and it's taken a couple of turns, maybe not the way a human driver would, but nothing that was unsafe.
What we've seen is that people experiencing the technology really leads to people using it more and having trust in the technology to get them safely to where they need to go.
Two people who don't need to be convinced, Sheila and Robert.
I'm 83 years old, and I'm thinking about retiring from driving. And this is just a great way to go. I can get into my car and depend on it.
You don't have any kind of mixed feelings about the fact there's no one driving the car?
That's the exciting part. It's fun, and it's safe, and you don't have to tip.
Riding into a tipless and driverless future. I'm Chris Van Cleve in Phoenix.
If your shoes could vote, who would they vote for?
Probably a Democrat.
The question at one time might have seemed crazy. If your favorite beer were a person, who would it vote for, Democrat or Republican?
I will not answer that.
But in this day and age, if the companies were people, you're saying they would vote for Democrats.
Right.
Yes, it's time beer made it up to women.
As more big brands sell not only their products, but their values, people notice.
They need to.
You think they need to do more?
Absolutely.
Some love it.
It's nice to be transparent, in a world that you don't get that anymore.
People say that, you can't be political. That is virtually impossible to live in a democratic society and not be political.
But many others, you like it when a company takes a stand on something?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. Yeah. Would rather not think of politics when they shop.
I don't even think that they care. I think that they're just doing it just to look good.
It wasn't always this way.
And in fact, during the civil rights movement, when the New York Times Magazine asked if corporations have a social duty to speak up, the head of U.S. Steel declared that's quite beyond what a corporation should do. So what changed?
The mission of a company is to give back to society and the business.
Amy Terpelick helps craft these strategies for the marketing firm Finn Partners.
And companies are focusing on longer-term, purpose-driven commitments and actions that relate back to their core business and their core values.
She says it's partly the push of investors, partly the sway of employees, and largely the expectation of customers themselves.
We're facing these incredible social and environmental issues we need to solve, and we need to solve fast. And they look to companies as having the resources, the speed, and the social innovations to be able to do that.
Surveys have suggested 70% of Americans now believe brands should take a stand on social issues, with nearly 2/3 saying they'll buy products based on their beliefs and values. But not all customers believe the same things.
Disney's posturing has alienated a lot of people now.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is locked in a political battle with Disney, for example, after the company publicly opposed a bill he later signed into law. Bud Light, meanwhile, faced a backlash and watched its sales plummet, all for sending a promotional can to a prominent transgender social media star.
This is absolutely dangerous to businesses that wade into these issues, and they really do it at their own peril.
Will Hild is executive director of Consumers Research, a nonprofit that's been issuing woke alerts about companies taking progressive stances.
Our message is simply this: serve your consumers, not woke politicians and activists.
Find the outlet that gives you joy. He sees these campaigns as quite obviously a shift to the left and doesn't buy the idea that customers really want this kind of marketing.
It's a radical proposition, but I think they should just focus on selling high-quality goods and services at a reasonable price.
So you think corporate America, writ large, is running the risk of alienating half of their potential customers?
Yeah, there's no question about it.
One result is a recent boom in right-leaning companies.
We have the mission to provide coffee and culture to people of America.
Black Rifle Coffee Company, for example, is a conservative alternative to Starbucks.
They condemned our views.
And the Daily Wire, a right-leaning media company, is dreaming even bigger.
Behold, Jeremy's razors.
With a line of anti-woke shaving gear, chocolate bars, and eventually, they say, children's programming.
Stop giving your money to woke corporations who don't think you deserve their product.
But none of that has deterred companies like The Body Shop.
Being in total control of herself.
Which works with Finn Partners and has a full-time activism team at headquarters.
So what changed?
I think for us, nothing changed. So
Corporate executive Nakiba King says activism at The Body Shop is more than a seasonal item.
The Body Shop was really founded around the belief that business can and should be a force for good.
And there are reminders of that belief in every store, even if not every customer appreciates it.
Your core customer clearly is A-OK with everything you're saying and doing and is coming back for more.
That's right.
But there are also customers out there who might want the luscious lychee or the shea or the you name it body product, but they pause because their politics, their positions are not yours.
So I'd invite them to come in or explore the Body Shop and learn what we support, because there's likely something in there that we can agree about. And we respect the fact that there are people who may not align with our positions, but we're firm in what we believe.
So sitting on the sidelines is not an option.
No.
Well, the dating app Grindr helped ring in the start of Pride Month. Employees of the social network for the LGBTQ community rang the closing bell yesterday at the New York Stock Exchange. The company CEO said ringing the closing bell at this particular moment in time is deeply meaningful. Well, the stock market shakeup puts Elon Musk back on top of an elite list, and Meta unveils the future of VR. Chanel Call has your Friday Money Watch report.
Stocks rose Thursday as Wall Street responded to the House passing a deal to raise the nation's debt ceiling. The Dow gained 153 points, the Nasdaq was up by 165, and the S&P 500 gained 41 points. Lululemon shares surged Thursday after the company released stronger than expected Q1 earnings. Sales rose 24% year over year to $2 billion, pushing shares 12% higher in extended trading. A spokesperson attributes the spike in sales to a meaningful acceleration in China, coupled with lower air freight. As he wraps up a 3-day trip to China, Elon Musk has regained his place as the world's richest person. According to Bloomberg, the Tesla CEO's total wealth is now $192 billion. He surpassed Bernard Arnault, the CEO of French luxury goods empire LVMH, after his company's stock fell 2.6% on Wednesday. And welcome to the future. Meta unveiling this new $500 VR headset on Thursday. The Quest 3 will be 40% thinner than the company's previous headset and feature color mixed reality. The surprise reveal comes days before rival Apple is set to release its own pricier version. That's your CBS Money Watch report for this Friday morning. I'm Chanel Call, CBS News, New York.
Talking about the first ever Haitian Heritage Parade, which made its way through the Upper West Side this afternoon. Pix 11's Kieran Dillon was there.
A few dozen people showed up on the Upper West Side for the Haitian Heritage Day Parade Saturday.
I think everyone needs to learn about the history of Haiti and how we are a strong country, small, mighty, but strong.
Daphne Sanon was one of them. She's a proud Haitian American who lives in New York.
I want to celebrate Haiti. I want to share the culture with others. Haiti is a very special place for me. That's where I was born. That's where my mom, grandmother were born. That's where I get my characters, my values from.
The great spirit of the Haitian community, from our medical professionals to our schools, to our teachers, to our small businesses. All that you do, this is your day to celebrate. Mayor Eric Adams joined in on the celebration. He presented organizers with a proclamation and walked with participants from 82nd to 72nd Street along Central Park West. The parade, a way to spread awareness about the Haitian culture.
We felt like we should be in Manhattan along with the Puerto Rican Day Parade, the St. Patty's Day Parade. We have a rich history and we have so much culture that we just wanted to share it with everyone.
Haitian American Luc Jean-Louis was also there with his father and sister.
Haitian people have a lot of pride. We're a country that was born out of a successful slave revolt. We are, I believe, one of, if not the first actual black republic in the Western Hemisphere. And so there's so much to be proud of. We have a rich history.
It's a rich history, which will now be celebrated annually in New York City. Near Central Park, Kieran Dillon, Pix 11 News.
Everyone loves more of a good thing.
More.
And Miss Moore was no different. As her name suggested, she loved more.
More?
So when Miss Moore was injured, she called Morgan & Morgan. With more lawyers, more offices, and more than $15 billion recovered, she didn't have to ask for more anymore. When you're injured, you deserve more.
One more?
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
The first few big events of Pride are already happening this weekend. In fact, we're already seeing some programming Friday in the area around Stonewall, but there's really an emphasis on showing up and showing out for the LGBTQ plus community because of some of the events that have happened during the last year or so.
Hello, everybody. How we doing? Happy Pride!
As Pride Month kicks off, there's a lot of intention behind all this celebration.
And make the public realize that the people that are fighting against the community suddenly over these past couple of years realize that we're not going anywhere. We are part of this nation, and we deserve equal representation.
Stephen Love Menendez helped organize this pride flag display. It's the first of its kind on National Parks property. It's grown to include the Progress Pride flag and the transgender flag, especially with mounting efforts to crack down on trans rights and ban drag shows across the country.
We just want to make sure that all peoples within the community, especially the most marginalized, understand that, we are reaching out to them too, and that, we're giving them space and the space.
The city, too, seems well aware Pride will be especially loud and proud in 2023.
We're expecting many Pride celebrations to get back to their pre-pandemic levels of participation. We certainly hope so.
During a briefing today, Hassan Naveed, who heads the mayor's office for the prevention of hate crimes, gave practical tips for those looking to enjoy the festivities, including making a safety plan, traveling in groups, and protecting your personal information. And Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Phil Banks pledged that police would work with the LGBTQ+ community to make all Pride events safe, and stressed that hate would not be tolerated.
Whether you're part of that community or not, when someone attacks that community, they're attacking society. Evil can win if good doesn't stand together. So this is almost like a call for action for not just the LGBTQ+ community, but just for our everyday New Yorkers, right? We have to stand together. We have to support each other.
I am happy for the police presence to be here. I think there are allies within the police department. There's controversy. Yes, there's things that need to be changed, but we need to all work together.
And in another form of outreach, the NYPD is actually promising to take another look at cold cases that directly impact the LGBTQ+ community. Those cases historically have not always been taken seriously by police. In the West Village, Henry Rostoff, Pix 11 News.